Last season may or may not have gone the way you wanted. But one thing is for certain, last year is over, and a new season is ahead of us. You often hear, don't sweat the small stuff. But in our world, that's the only thing to sweat. Because the small stuff, that's what we can control.
Stay with your man, do what you need to do, but then talk and see it through.
So we get to work.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
We battle, we grind, we fight, we sweat.
So that was special, but we remember the goal.
We finished the job tonight. Let's go get them.
So get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
Nothing beats new beginnings, and with that, the start of a new season is officially here. USL Championship action makes its joyful return today with the Miami FC scoring off with FC Tulsa. And hello everyone, with Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon. Lord Markwood will join us in just a brief moment, but Ricky, a brand new season and also a format with it.
And if you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're a fan, this is the moment that you've been waiting for. Opening day, and obviously the new format, home and away in your conference. So away games are going to be so important to pick up points, and then you go across the conference for the rest of the remaining of the schedule. So it's going to be very interesting, and you have to manage emotions in starting this match here today.
Oh, but the emotions and the expectations are sky high for the home team, aren't they?
And you look at Florian Velo, a player that's going to have a massive emphasis on Miami FC. Yes, he has a talent, but that talent needs to translate into games, assists, and goals. He's going to be the one pulling the string for Anthony Pulis, and if you're a Miami FC player or a fan, you're going to want him on the ball more oftentimes than not.
But FC Tulsa, they can certainly counter.
And you have DaCosta going to play as a withdrawn number 10 underneath Dyer. He can beat you 1v1. He can beat you through combination play. He needs to have a massive game for FC Tulsa if they have any hope of walking home with all 3 points here tonight.
And now let's join our third member of the group, Lauren Markwood, who mentioned and spoke with Anthony Pulis earlier today. Lauren, take it away.
The start of the 2023 season, our home opener. Coach, what has the team been doing on the field and off the field to prepare for the start of the season?
Yeah, we've been putting in a lot of hard work. The guys have worked extremely hard the first couple of weeks of pre-season. We were doing a lot of double sessions, refining our identity and how we want to play in each of the moments, how we want to attack, how we want to defend and transition both ways, just to make sure there's a real clarity from all the players on what's expected of them. Obviously, we're onboarding 7 new players, so it's getting those up to speed and reminding the returning players of what's expected. At the same time, building chemistry and again, making sure that everybody's really clear and fully aware of what we want from them when we go into the first game tonight.
And let's talk about the fans. The team is going to be wearing the 305 home kit. I heard it's going to be a big crowd tonight. What does the team, or what do the fans mean to the team? Yeah,
a huge amount. I think it's really important for us. Being here in South Florida, that we really connect with our community. Hopefully we can get a really good crowd here tonight. They can provide a lot of energy and almost act as that 12th man on the field for the players to hopefully push us towards 3 points tonight.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No
Good luck
problem.
tonight.
Thank you.
Lauren, thank you very much. Round 1, match 1. It's Miami FC and FC Tulsa coming at you next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho,
Sweetwater,
Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305. This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I
I am American Dream.
I am the future.
I am Miami FC.
This match is presented by Wheels. Tata 2 and Baptist Health. I'm back here inside Ricardo Silva Stadium with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon. Ricky, the starters today, first off for the Miami FC.
And you talked to Anthony Pulis. It looks like a 4-4-2, but can quickly shift into a 4-3-3. You're going to see Telfer push up on that front line. Duona is going to be one sitting below, and Salazar are going to push up. Really talented starting 11 for FC Tulsa. Blair Gavin, what does this look like? First game in charge. Set up as a 4-2-3-1, but my eyes go straight to that middle three. Fernandez, Ferry, Tacosta. What does that relationship look like? You have Marcus Epps. We know what he's about, getting in behind, and Dyer, the player from college, scoring a lot of goals. He needs to be active and asking questions of Miami FC and that back line.
Yeah, he can certainly fill it up, but it's a picturesque day. Few scattered clouds, temperature 79 degrees here in Miami, Florida. Glad you could be here with us on a beautiful Saturday night. It is match number 1 for Miami FC. Brand new campaign, and Anthony Pulis speaking with Lauren earlier today. He talked a little bit about that team, this team, and how it's designed, but he said a lot during the offseason was about putting together the right personnel. He feels like he has a good group.
Well, when you have a coach like Anthony Pulis, it's a success that he's had, not only in MLS, at USL as well. He wants to find the right players to fit his system. That's why you bring in a player like Ryan Telfer from Columbus Crew 2, who's going to get in behind. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of players. You have Aiden Stanley, Mark Segbers, Chapman Page, and Paco Craig. Players that are expressive. They know how to have the success in this USL. So it's going to be very interesting for Miami FC, and it starts here in the first 15 minutes.
Opening kickoff presented by Wheels. Glad you can be here with us. We'll be with you all season long, with us live or on demand. You can follow us throughout the beginning of the campaign to the very end. It will be some postseason. I imagine if you are a fan of the Miami FC. Opening touch right there by Michael Nelson. And it's fascinating. You mentioned at the turn of the show, Ricky, how this format will look drastically different from a season ago, but it's exactly what you want if you're a fan, right? You want teams going from the East Coast to the West and vice versa.
Because there's always an unwritten rule that you always are looking across the conference as which one is stronger. Obviously, if you're in the Eastern Conference, you think your conference is stronger. Obviously, the West, San Antonio being the 2022 USL Championships, they think they're the stronger. So now you got to go across country and test yourself, and it's really exciting for a fan and a player.
All about making an impact here. This looks to be an offside, and it certainly is the case. And one of the strengths for Miami FC a season ago was not only what they did in net, but also in the back line. They registered 17 clean sheets. How important is that to duplicate in another year for Anthony Pulis?
And we talk about the offseason. Obviously, in USL, there's so much turnover. Connor Sparrow goes away to Tampa Bay Rowdies. Now you bring in Sendejas from Charlotte FC on the season-long loan. So look for him to have a lot of communication between Chapman Page and Paco Craig.
And we'll see how things unfold for them. As the insert right there into the box by Segbers. That strike from outside. This will be an early on corner kick for Miami FC. Corner kicks presented by Baptist Health. Take a look now at the injury report presented by Baptist Health as well. Let's go to it, Ricky.
I see no injuries for Miami FC. Yes, Bolu Akinyoti's out due to suspension, but then you look at FC Tulsa. Obviously, don't want that first game of the season, but you know, Blair Gavin has a lot of depth, did a lot of work in the offseason, so it's next man up mentality.
Yeah, you'd certainly love to have no players on that injury report throughout the entire campaign, but that's just wishful thinking. It's the first bender. This one will go over the net against Nelson. Michael Nelson in goal today, 6'3" and ripe old age of 28 from Katy, Texas. lot of moving parts for FC Tulsa. On the other side of things for Miami FC, it's a nucleus that they brought back 2/3 of the roster, but you mentioned it. I mean, the turnover is drastic for some of these clubs in USL Championship, but not so much for the Miami FC.
Yeah, it's something that Anthony Pulis said to us on our phone call. Said, look, we brought down 2/3 of our roster returning, so we know what the identity is, but now it's just getting those players implemented into the culture, our style of play, and how quickly can they do? You look at a player, I keep mentioning Ryan Telfer, Salazar, Rivas, who was here last year, but those players can turn this game into a drop of a hat, so they need to get going early for Anthony Pulis.
Yeah, that's one hopeful element to their game, that they can get off on the right foot, start, and make sure that everyone else is playing catch-up with them. San Antonio FC was the best amongst the defense in USL Championship action last season, registering 19 clean sheets, but Miami FC right behind them was 17, second overall. It's nothing to frown upon. Movement outside. Salazar looking for a little bit of real estate. Another throw in for Miami FC. Hey, take me through this, Ricky, because you've been now on both sides of the aisle, right? As a broadcaster, but also formerly as a player. What are your emotions like prior to playing in game number 1 of a season?
Well, first, the excitement, right? Obviously, you're playing against players that are not on your team that you're seeing for 3, 4, 5 weeks of a preseason. So now it's game day. You're putting on the fresh new jerseys. You're putting on going into the stadium, new fans. So it's a whole new excitement around it. But you have to be able to manage those excitements. Obviously, getting into challenges. Who's going to be the first one to make an impact, to make their presence felt? But move the ball from left to right. Let the ball sweat. And then when you open up the opposition for both teams, that's when you need to pounce and pounce quickly.
It also helps that you're rocking some new kits too.
Exactly.
New threads are never a bad thing, especially for the fans that can purchase those and get some of that stuff online. But Anthony Pulis did mention to us earlier this week about how his club had a pretty good preseason, felt overall good, and he was quite active, although it felt like it was short-lived just between the end of the season, the time off, recruiting, and then putting some bodies together to make sure he fielded a proper team. Things might change for an opportunity here early on. Great play at the very last second as Nelson was coming out, as Velo was barreling in. Corrales there on the fine play.
But this is just beautiful interplay between Miami FC. Kyle Murphy drops in, plays it back to Florian Velo, and what does he do? He's going to stretch and get in behind that back line. But give credit to Corrales. Last-ditch defending effort, gets all of the ball and he needs to. But so far, 6 minutes in, Miami FC on the front foot.
Murphy and Rivas up front. You have to look for them to be the focal point of the attack for Miami FC. Their strength this season should be a lot of transition, offensively and defensively, not just one area of the pitch.
I think they're going to have a lot of success with your inverted wingers, whether it's Ryan Telfer, whether it's Rivas or Rivas, just coming in underneath Murphy. Murphy's going to be a player that's likes to spin in behind that real estate, so that's going to leave a lot of gaps in real estate to play for players underneath to operate. So look for those players, move the ball from left to right in between lines, and for Murphy to get on the end of things.
Murphy last season registered 10 goals in the campaign. He had 20 with Memphis, and you have one guy that can fill it up, and you've seen that throughout USL Championship in years past. But I think the important part, Anthony Pulis was mentioned to us earlier in the week, was about having balance.
Exactly, and that's why we mentioned Florian Velo in the open. Kyle Murphy, yes, 20 goals at Memphis, comes down, cuts that in half only to 10. But he does a lot of things off the ball. Look for him to pull players out of position. That's going to open up a gap for, like I keep mentioning, Rivas, Velo to get in those half pockets. And then you bring a player like Ryan Telford in, so powerful and paceful. So this Miami FC side is very good at expanding opposition and playing through the lines as well.
Match is just underway. Glad you can be here with us on a Saturday night. Telfer. Not wide. Murphy lurking a little bit. Rivas and Murphy be flip-flopping throughout. And that's one of the things that Miami FC is trying to execute this season, is getting all their pieces involved on the offensive end to support and add pressure as the match continues on into the good night. It's one thing to have that idea. It's another to completely go into it and execute. Here's Marcus Epps. Epps from Jackson, Mississippi. Tell you what, the one interesting element for both of these clubs here today, Ricky's Like a lot of these players are in the prime of their careers, 26, 27, 28 years of age. Now, that's not to take a shot at anyone that's 30 or 31, but nevertheless, they're ripe ages.
And there's just so much talent on the field here. If you're looking at opening day, this is a match that you're going to circle. Say, look, FC Tulsa, last time in the stadium, 2-1 win against Miami FC. So what does this look like? But obviously, Blair Gavin comes in. He's going to change things up. There's just so much talent. You have Marcus Epps, Dyer. We keep mentioning the goals that he scored in college. DaCosta, Fernandez, Ferry, Corrales, Malou. Players that they brought in the offseason to get them over that playoff line into this year.
Yeah, DaCosta had 11 goals in 2021. Also 6 assists. The offensive productivity not there last season for FC Tulsa. Failing to make any kind of headway and reach the postseason. But for Miami FC, when you can clamp and lock teams down defensively, you want a lot more on the offensive end, especially trying to reach the postseason and make some noise there. That cross never found a target.
And you just see how expansive FC Tulsa is. DaCosta plays off the shoulder of Duwuna. Envelo gets on the half turn, and then it's Josef on the right-hand side. It's a good ball across. But if you're Dyer or Epps, you need to get on the end of that. That man has to be extremely happy with the response the last couple of minutes here.
Into the 10th minute with Miami FC and FC Tulsa. Anthony Pulis did a lot of reflecting during the offseason about his club, and he felt like the first half and the second half of the season were just a yin and a yang, different shades. It's pretty nice to hear a coach quite candidly say that to us, because more often than not, it's simply just coach speak, but he was pretty honest with us because of the amount of effort and also the feeling he had about his group last year. Now he hopes that it could be from the start to the end.
It also comes down to consistency.
Yeah.
When you know what is asked in your role, you're comfortable with how he runs his camp. Obviously, comes in year one last year. What does this look like in year two? But I think such a big thing was bringing in 60% back into the roster. They know what's expected. They know what the daily is, how training's going to run, and how to prepare for a game.
Yeah, it'll be different, especially when you look at other clubs in the USL Championship. Players in particular that have been transferred over or loaned out. You know, Michael Nelson's one in particular. He's been transferred, or he's been on loan 3 different times. So you're trying to find a house, you're trying to find a home, a place that you can plant that flag. And for Nelson and net today for FC Tulsa, that hasn't been the case in recent years.
That's what you sign up for, Rob, right? The ability to adapt to different cultures, different systems, different cities. But Michael Nelson, a player that I got drafted with, I know him very well. He's a true professional. You know he's going to be able to dictate that back line and have them organized.
Adrian Zendejas, currently on loan from Charlotte FC. Hasn't had a touch early on here in this contest. But got to imagine the native from Chula Vista, California will get some work as this night goes along. Nelson will come out here. Nelson just celebrated his 28th birthday back on February the 10th. Played locally in Texas at Southern Methodist University. He's on loan from Houston Dynamo. Epps trying to get it back. See the congestion in the middle of the pitch for Miami FC. A pretty decent amount of possession for Miami FC early on, and now FC Tulsa. That's a difficult challenge here in the 13th minute. See if this results in a card, Ricky.
Yeah, it's a hard challenge here from Bird. It just comes through. Ryan Telfer. If you're Malou in that back line, there's no need to try to force this ball down the middle of the field, trying to break lines. The last couple minutes, you've had good position in terms of possession, moving the ball from right side to left side. Sloppy turnover turnover. Ryan Telfer reads it extremely well. We'll see as this ball goes on. Yeah, it's a tough challenge. That sweeping left leg that catches Ryan Telfer. Sees Bird go in the book, so now he needs to be extremely careful. Not what you want so early in this first half to get into the booking.
You got to imagine if you're Eric Bird, you thought you got away with it for a minute because you were getting a lecture from J.C. Griggs, and then all of a sudden, 60 seconds later, whips out the yellow card.
A yellow card has
so an early booking, as you had mentioned, and now it has to be on the side of caution for Bird.
Now it's extremely important for Miami FC just to read the game. Obviously, the right-sided right back is on a yellow card, so what does this look like for Aiden Stanley and Ryan Telfer? Ask questions of him, put him into difficult situations, quick combination play around the corner, make him get into challenges he doesn't want to, and put the decision into the hands of the referee, so it's going to be very interesting 14 minutes into this match.
And that's always the delicate area of concern, whether you're on the sidelines or competing on the pitch, is how aggressive or how nonchalant or how passive a lead official will be, especially early on in the season. As the nights and the days and the weeks go along, oftentimes officials will tend to try to muck things up a little bit, slow down the pace if they feel like the intensity of the anxiety between two clubs gets a little too high. And then they revert back to being a little free once it comes to the postseason. Near intercept there. Some brief miscommunication, but Miami FC with possession. Salazar working with it back. Chapman Page, native from Manchester upon in the UK. No real surprises, at least from Miami FC starting this contest off with their alignment. Stanley up front. This one whipped into the box. Nobody around for Miami FC. This will be an early turnover. We're on the intercept. Player go down for FC Tulsa, and now J.C. Griggs is looking around to see exactly what was going on, but completely away from the play.
And we've seen so many times from FC Tulsa just trying to force the ball, trying to break lines, change a point of attack, and it gives Miami FC opportunities to turn their defensive efforts into attacking opportunities. As this ball comes across, I think Ryan Telfer is trying to make a run from outside across and just catches Malou. I don't think there's any ill intent there. Hopefully Malou's okay.
And see Telfer rubbing his left temple. Telfer from El Salvador. Played his ball collegiately at UNLV. He's with the Tulsa Roughnecks back in 2017. Gonna get a look there. Played for FC Tulsa just a couple years ago in 2021. And in June of last year, made his way down to South Beach.
Hey fans, remember to check out the Miami
We see this run here as Colin Murphy just drops in. Yeah, just catches head to head. It's never fun. But if you're Blair Gavin, you're going to tell your boys to be a bit more careful with the ball. Too many sloppy turnovers, trying to hit that home run ball. That's when you come into terms of managing emotions. You don't have to go and have that special pass right away, circulate the ball around the back, and have that terms of possession. So far, it's been all Miami FC in terms of traffic going one way.
Are you more inclined as a player to take shots like that early on in the season?
Head to head?
I mean, in terms of taking those stretch passes and trying to hit the big one.
Well, I do think like you want to make an impact. You want to tell your coach, hey, when you put your first 11 down on the field, I need to be there. I need to be first impression. And sometimes that gets into a player's mentality, say I have to do everything at once. But in reality, take a step back, take a deep breath, and play the simple ball. Usually a simple ball is the most efficient one. And we've seen so many times FC Tulsa, again, where they're playing Blaine Ferry, Marcus Sebbs, trying to switch the point of attack, and that results into Miami FC attacking opportunities.
I guess it's just human nature to think about the end result as opposed to the process.
Exactly.
As Malou coming off the pitch, we can only hope that he's okay. Nothing serious on either end offensively for Miami FC or FC Tulsa. As we're into the 18th minute. With plenty of action across the country in USL Championship. I'll keep you up to speed as the night goes along, as the campaign goes into the summer and then eventually into the fall. As Malou makes his return there.
Just see how organized Miami FC is in their defensive shape, making life extremely frustrating for FC Tulsa to break through lines. We see so many turnovers.
But you could definitely make that observation with Salazar and Telfer both out wide that have really tried to put the pressure on the flanks of FC Tulsa.
And it's something that Anthony Pulis has by design. He wants to attack a certain way and defend a certain way. We talked to him and said, look, this is something we train. This is our identity. We have Salazar pushing high, Ryan Telfer pressurizing their outside backs, and then you have Rivas drop underneath Murphy, and you have Duwuna and Velo anchoring the midfield. It's really fluid in the terms that they turn their defensive efforts into attacking opportunities and vice versa.
Not like you can hide that kind of talent, but you're trying to get creative and trying to manipulate the defense.
Exactly.
Move those eyes around, if you will. DaCosta on the touch. DaCosta from Rio de Janeiro. Dyer up front with him as well. This is a potential opportunity here for FC Tulsa and JC Griggs. It does bring out the yellow card. That was a valid booking, if anything, against Velo. Velo trying to present an argument, but not much anything with that with FC Tulsa on the move.
And again, it's just through playing off the shoulder. It's DaCosta comes in around the corner. Cheeky little flick from Youssef. And if Velo needs to make a challenge, if he's not, DaCosta's off to the races. But he's been right early, DaCosta, just finding in those space and asking questions and testing the shape of Miami FC.
So a pretty decent look here for FC Tulsa. This is the first decent threat of the match for either club. We'll take this one from about 40 yards out. Nothing materializing for them. Miami FC returning 2/3 of their roster, 7 newcomers to Miami. And one of the things that Anthony Pulis discussed at great length with us earlier in this week was not necessarily looking for the best players, but the most commendable character that he can find. It's about gelling, being on the same page, and not putting together a bunch of eye guys. Start playing hero ball, all of a sudden you get in some trouble, especially late in the year. It's a rather delicate challenge in the sideline as Chapman Page goes hovering over a member of FC Tulsa. I'm going to talk about being in no man's land. Benches, players. Looks like a booking there for Chapman Page. So the second one of this contest for the Miami FC.
Now, if you're a player, you need to be very aware of how quickly this referee is pulling out the yellow card as Chapman Page comes over the top of Dyer. So any little challenge now to result in a yellow card. Calling this game extremely tight. The center is.
Dyer and Chapman Page having a good laugh after the fact, of course. Bodies colliding there again at midfield. Velo, tell you what, he's got his arms up. It wasn't the arms that made the contact. And he's got to be careful here.
Needs to be extremely careful. Florian Velo. The silly challenge. Colin Fernandez, does extremely well to see the pressure, plays it around the corner extremely quick. Yeah. Walking a very thin line, that man, number 10 from Miami FC. Needs to be extremely careful in the challenges that he decides to go into in his defensive positioning from here on out.
A big question about latitude from J.C. Griggs, the lead official today. That looks to be the first break, at least, for Miami FC with Velo on that challenge. Fernandez had control for all of about a second, trying to move that thing up midfield into the attacking third. And for Velo, he's already grabbed a yellow card in this match, so must be on the side of caution, at least for the time being. Now here we come for FC Tulsa. And that cross was going to be cut off eventually by Stanley, but nevertheless it'll be a goal kick.
But once again, it's Duuna and Velo getting caught up a bit too high, and that leaves a big gap for players like DaCosta or Youssef to come in, get the ball in the half turn. That's where FC Tulsa's having their most success. Where you have to look at the players that are not available for Miami FC. You have Bolu Akinyode out due to suspension. He's a player that likes to sit in that hole, a destroyer. You bring in Cabral from League One as well, a player that had a very high ceiling coming into the season, and shoot number 6, but those players are unavailable. So that asks a lot of questions for Duuna and Velo in terms of defensive positioning, IQ, players that are more expressive on the attacking phase. But we've seen more times, often than not, they're getting caught too high.
Youssef there on the foul. Yeah, Moises Hernandez will be off the bench. Curtis Thorne as well. Claudio Repetto for Miami FC. So it's not like the cupboard's bare for Anthony Pulis, but you obviously want to go as long as you can with your starters and then spell some in and some out, depending on the circumstances, preferably with an advantage. Chapman Page.
Great ball.
Looking for a step. Segbers with a nice feed, and that attempt by Murphy skied up into the air. Velo looking for it amongst the sun, but couldn't locate it. Velo, that one a good strike, and he finds the back of the net. So much for being careful. Velo tees one up. And in the 26th minute, Miami FC with the early advantage at 1-0.
And we've talked about it in the open. Yes, he has a talent. You talk to anyone around the league in MLS, USL, he belongs on the field. But yes, talent can take you so far. You need the stats to back it up. Picks his head up, sees I have 10, 15 yards of space. Why not put my laces through the ball? Head down, laces through it. There's nothing Michael Nelson can do. Just roosts this and laces it into the top corner. What a way to open your account in 2023. Take a bow, Florian Velo. Dream start here from Miami FC.
That was a great shot from our crew behind Velo. It was just like the parting of the sea, if you will. And Velo with an absolute bullet. And Nelson is at 6'3" with some pretty good reach. But for Velo, his first goal of the campaign, he had all of 5 last year. More importantly, it's 1-0 Miami FC.
You could just see how expressive he is to take 10, 15 yards.
Response here, good stop. Rebounds in, Dejas can't get it. And there's the equalizer in the 28th minute. Oh, that was awfully quick. We get a brand new affair. Youssef on the fat rebounds, and Dejas had no chance.
And much like the Miami FC opening goal, no one steps. As Colin Fernandez picks up his head, laces this ball as it hits off the deck. Zendejas does what he can do, trying to parry it away. But it's just slow in rotation, slow in reaction. And Joseph is there just to slot it into that back post. Anything you can do, I can do better. FC Tulsa responds. If you're Blair Gavin, you have to be extremely pleased with the reaction after giving up a goal.
Stanley trying to track back Joseph. But for Zendejas, he had the right idea, punching that ball to his left, just not enough of an angle to make it run parallel with the goal line. So for Joseph, the equalizer, his first goal of the campaign, and we're 1-up.
Now it's a highlight for the back lines of both teams, Miami FC and FC Tulsa. The player in the midfield picks up their head, has about 20 yards. They don't need a second invitation to pull the trigger. You need someone to close that space down and play that wall in front of the back line.
2 goals in the matter of 1 minute and 20 seconds. So that was quick. One of the things that we had talked about earlier this week, would we have a high-scoring affair, or would it be a defensive lockdown contest for 90 minutes? Well, didn't have a lot of offense early on, then all of a sudden, lightning strikes twice.
And once again, it goes back to the emotion now of the game. Yes, you go up, you go down, the highs and lows of the game of football. But now who's going to respond? Who's going to put their foot on the ball? We get the game and take the wind out of the sails in terms of possession and find the right time to ask questions of the opposition.
Paco Craig did get the assist on the goal that was scored by Velo in the 26th minute.
It's a Miami FC.
Joseph comes right back in the 28th to level it at 1. Get a look there at Kyle Murphy from Red Hook, New York. It's a small town upstate New York, nowhere near Manhattan, Brooklyn, or Queens. Got to imagine at this time of the year he's awfully happy to be down in South Beach. Snow pummeling the northeast, and then the rain in the southwest of the country. The bright skies here in Miami, Florida. Let's see what Velo does here on the corner. And much to write home about just yet in these opportunities. That one slightly elevated. Craig tried to get to it, bobbling around, loose. And Murphy on his backside, but he was a threat.
And good things happen just when you whip balls into dangerous situations. As this ball pinballs around, it comes down extremely awkward for Kyle Murphy. But if you're Anthony Pulis, you have to be extremely pleased that your striker is in and around that action. It's such a hard technique. The ball's coming over your shoulder. There's traffic coming across. The angle's not the best. Nonetheless, good effort from Kyle Murphy.
Flow going as you thought it would go from west to east, east to west?
You never know first game of the season who's going to come out on top. Obviously, there's a spot of just feeling each other out, saying, okay, we know what you're about. We expect what we're going to see, but when you go on the field, the reality is it's going to be different, right? Sure. So you see this Miami FC side. I do think, talking to Anthony Pulis, he has their identity. He knows what they want to do. The wingers push underneath. You see Segbers getting into the attacking third more oftentimes than not. For FC Tulsa, it's a bit more defensive than I imagined. Sitting a bit back, not pressurizing, making Miami FC play through lines and try to beat them through possession, which Miami FC, look at their goal-scoring opportunities last year. 48 goals, 35 assists, more defensive-minded. So that's telling you, play your cards. Let's see what you can do playing through lines. And if you're Blair Gavin, you have to be extremely pleased with how your boys are setting up defensively.
There's Salazar picking himself off the deck. The native from France moved to the United States about 9 years ago, back in 2014 when he played college, and then was signed eventually by New York Red Bulls too. Moved up in 2017, and with FC Cincinnati in 2021, he had 5 goals last year. And so you want to see that productivity and then take another step, especially if you're the caliber of Salazar. But can't do it alone. I'll tell you what, Salazar, who just got up off the ground, looked like he got upended right behind J.C. Griggs.
The Miami FC would like to thank the doctors at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care for their continued support as the official
we're here in the 33rd minute.
Provider of Miami FC.
Below with his first goal of the season. Paco Craig with the helper in the 26th minute. And then moments after that, Josef got the game even. Pretty large rebound from Adrian Zendejas. Had a look real quick at Blaine Ferry. One thing that's certainly an encouraging sign, at least for the first 33 minutes plus. Nobody cramping up. Sometimes with the weather, especially the humidity in certain parts of the country, you might get that early on the year. The preseason was active for both clubs. So I could say it's safe to say they've acclimated themselves to the regular season nicely. Velo thought he got away with one there, but not so much. Velo got to that ball first, but JC Griggs objects.
Once again, it's Florian Velo coming across, doing the defensive side of the ball. Catches Eric Bird a bit late. To be extremely careful once again. You know, it's a brilliant opportunity here for FC Tulsa just to whip this ball in. They're aiming for right around that penalty mark, trying to catch Zendejas in no man's land.
See who takes this. DaCosta, yes sir, with the left foot into the box. And that one pierced away nicely at the last second. Good responsibility from Paco Craig. I don't know what you can't say about Paco Craig, because he's a leader on the pitch. He's vocal. He can do everything that you want and then some. He really does fill the role as the team leader.
Well, I think Anthony Billis said it terrifically when he was talking to Lauren earlier. Said, look, he is our coach on the field. He knows what it takes to win in this league, being with Blue City, coming into Miami FC, just been professional through and throughout. So it's a massive part of what Miami FC likes to do on the defensive side of the ball.
It starts from the top. Management, leadership, the staff, to the captains on. It's a rare corner on the day for FC Tulsa. That was a line drive. Never had a chance of materializing for FC Tulsa. Traffic just outside the 18.
Really good work there from Kyle Murphy. He needs to hold that ball up, but as he does, there's no one coming that secondary movement underneath him. Draws a foul. Gets Miami FC out of his very sticky situation.
Into the 37th minute. Ricky Lopez Espin and Lauren Markwith. I'm David Gascon. We'll be with you throughout the entire season. Near and far, of course. If you didn't join us at the top of the show, changing of the format and bring some teams in, have some teams leave, and makes things awfully interesting, especially when you get late into the year, your legs get a little tired, the jet lag comes into play. But these are professionals. Coming on the heels of an exciting World Cup as well. Intercept there, and Telfer held his ground for a brief moment. Foul on that, and with more on Anthony Pulis. Speaking of Lauren Markwood, Laura, what do you got for us?
Hi guys, missed you pitch side. What an electric game. Things are really heating up. It's getting a little chippy down here, but a goal from both sides within the first 28 minutes of the game, and a goal response from Tulsa within 1 minute of Miami FC scoring. And what an absolute banger that was from Valu. And I could hear Anthony Pulis. Like I said, I am pitch side, and he is yelling at his team, telling them we need to get more of our team involved from the defensive side to the midfield left side, all the way to attacking, helping Murphy up there get more chances on goal.
Lauren, thank you very much. Yeah, she's got the luxury of being down there where it feels like when you're down there in the pitch, you're like you're on the interstate up in the press box, not exactly the same kind of velocity and speed that the players are running at.
It's really interesting what she said about the goal and the attacking phase for Miami FC. So many times we've seen it's only been Murphy and Telfer running in behind, testing and stretching the back line of FC Tulsa. That's when you need a player like Joaquin Rivas. We haven't really said at all in this broadcast in this first half. He needs to get on the ball a bit more, as well as Salazar. That relationship, I think, that's going to be massive going forward is this right side, Salazar and Segbers. Segbers likes to get in and around into that final third around the edges, so Salazar needs to come underneath. A little bit of interplay that we see Telfer here on this left side.
Telfer out wide with a nice ginger push from below, but a nice takeaway, and Telfer trying to maneuver around the defense. No dice there. 40th minute, Miami FC, FC Tulsa, one apiece. Miami FC had scored in the 26th minute, and then moments after that, FC Tulsa notched things up. Average amount of physicality, a couple goals, some moments of possession for both clubs. And if you're Blair Gavin, the head coach of FC Tulsa, and then Anthony Pulis, I'd imagine you're probably pretty pleased with the start. But for Miami FC, their area of focus is certainly on protecting home field and doing more of what they did last season, locking down the opposition. FC Tulsa last year had 42 points. Miami FC had 55. It's the ability to dial things up. Salazar.
Those are really important moments going forward for Miami FC. As Murphy makes that run that pulls out Corrales, there's a big gap in the middle of the field. That's why you see Rivas taking in, but then Telfer needs to come in on that left side. I think Salazar makes the wrong decision there, trying to force that ball into the feet of Rivas. That's why you see a turnover comes about, but he picks up his head, puts the ball into space for Ryan Telfer. He has so much real estate on that left side.
Certainly a little bit of a dynamic with Mother Nature. You see the sun setting, so shade on the left side of the pitch, and then going down on the right side could impact Telfer a bit. A foul against Craig. Taking a brief tumble was DaCosta. DaCosta's only had one look towards target in this match. Epps.
And he's a player that needs to get going as well for Blair Gavin. Marcus Epps, so slippery and silky in terms of beating players 1v1. We haven't said his name much. It's been mostly Joseph and DaCosta. Dyer's been extremely quiet, but that is credit to Chapman Page and Paco Craig. Defensive center back pairing for Miami FC has been terrific in terms of their balance. One steps, one drops, and vice versa.
It's just like riding a bike.
Exactly.
Have not lost a step from a season ago. Make sure you hang out with us at the break. We'll get you some stats and some highlights. I'll look forward into the new season with Miami FC. Chapman Page there. Second stint with Miami. Actually was with FC Tulsa back in 2020, so Needless to say, a lot of familiarity with a few of these players on the pitch tonight. Dejas been challenged twice, beaten on one of the occasions. Below.
Great ball.
To the middle of the pitch and then out wide. Murphy trying to manipulate, can't. Spacing's been there for Miami FC. Finding those creases near the back line of the defense of FC Tulsa. Now it's about finding good placement.
They're having a lot of success getting into that final third. But once you get into that final third, just the execution has been lacking. That final ball, that final bit of individual brilliance like we saw from below. Bit of interplay just like this.
With that one pumped, Zendejas might have gotten a finger on it, and it doesn't look to be the case, but nevertheless, that's a threat we haven't seen for quite a while from DaCosta and company.
You can just see how quickly they're able to play between lines. As this ball comes in, Blaine Ferry one touch. Nice little dummy there from Dyer. You can see what DaCosta's trying to do, trying to bend this ball into that far post. He definitely has that in his locker. We've seen it through his history in the USL, how talented he is. Blair Gavin is applauding just to quick movement and combination play between lines for FC Tulsa.
He did it all coming into 2022, actually led the club in goals, assists, starts, the whole 9 yards. And now we get a stoppage here as J.C. Griggs. I'll tell you what, Corrales is a bit miffed, but Jorge, the guilty party, results in a booking here in the 45th minute. And this is a golden opportunity for Miami FC to recapture the lead.
As this ball from Salazar is under hit, it puts Corrales in a very awkward situation as he makes himself bigger with the extension of his right arm. Just hits off that shoulder area. It is a foul. But again, if you're J.C. Griggs, the question is it a yellow card?
I don't know. I mean, the ruling, right, is it has to be a natural movement, right?
He does make himself bigger. There's no question about it. Jorge Corrales, but now if you're Salazar, Ryan Telfer, Joaquin Rivas, you're licking your lips at this opportunity. Perfect distance to go up, open over the wall, around it. Plethora of options here. We'll see who steps up.
Rivas and Salazar. See who can inflict the damage here in the stoppage time. It will be Rivas with that left foot into the wall. He's asking for another handball. He's not going to get it, though. And J.C. Griggs was quick to put that whistle in his back pocket. Is he 4 minutes of stoppage time?
FC Tulsa on number 13, George Corrales. Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has added 4 minutes of extra time.
So a potential break for FC Tulsa. Sedberg's asking to hurry up here.
It's too stagnant for Miami FC at the moment. Results in a turnover. You need players pulling players out of position. One come to, one spinning behind.
They do force the intercept, Salazar, and then he gave it right back. Trying to play a little two-man game with Una. Did not materialize. Choppiness back and forth. Let's see what kind of a run we have here. I'll tell you what, Possession is going to go to FC Tulsa here, and Aiden Stanley does not agree with the call. I beg your pardon, Chapman Page, but nonetheless, peculiar. And Zendejas on his goal line asking him the same thing to JC Griggs. Now an opportunity for Miami FC to get it out of harm's way. They can. Good look at below there. First goal of the season, the 26th minute. Paco Craig with the helper. There's DaCosta working short. A little bit of miscommunication there as Velo didn't get a handle on it. Tell you what, that's a nice play by Murphy to track back, break it up. That's what happens with DaCosta here, high arcing. That one whipped around. Below. Clears this one out of harm's way, and that will be that for the first 45 minutes of action. So some solid defense and a couple of excellent strikes. Below got the goal scoring started for the home team. Miami FC led for all of about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that man Joseph right there got the equalizer. But 45 minutes in the books here. Miami FC, FC Tulsa bottled up at 1.
And I think if you're Anthony Pulis, what does this look like going into halftime? In the attacking phase of the game, Rivas needs to get more involved, Salazar as well, defensively tighten things up. But if you're Blair Gavin, you're sitting nice and pretty. You let in that goal, the response was terrific, so now it's all to play for in the second half.
A lot more action coming up on those sides. Stats, highlights, and a whole lot more. Miami FC, FC Tulsa in match number 1. They're tied at the half. 1-1 is the score.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at Ricardo Silva Stadium, we're at the break. Halftime presented by Macron. You see the score. Miami FC and FC Tulsa locked up at 1-1. Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm David Gascon. Ricky, first half highlights. We had a few, didn't we?
And you never know what to expect. First game of the season, teams are going to feel each other out, but who's going to get informed? Who's going to get confident in the rhythm quicker? And this man right here, Florian Velo, we highlighted him in the open. I asked, I needed more goals, I needed more assists, and what about that? Says, everything you say I can do better. Puts us in the top corner. There's nothing Michael Nelson can do. But if you're Blair Gavin, what the response was going to look like from your boys. You go down 1-0 on the road is never an easy thing. But Josef, first to react, gets there before Aiden Stanley. Zendejas, can he do better with it? Maybe push it a bit far wider. But Josef, so clinical, just passes it into that far post. And it was very interesting. It kept going back and forth. No team really got into the rhythm. Miami FC, this is another good chance for Kyle Murphy, but so awkward, David. This ball's coming up over your shoulder. There's traffic. Angle's not the best, but that's really it. That's mostly all we saw from the attacking phases for both sides.
So you look at what's going on right now in the first half stats. Here are your takes. And all we got, 1-1 is the score. Shots nearly identical. Possession time 50-50. I guess it's pretty much what you'd expect. However, the area of caution right there is a couple players on both sides of the bookends.
And again, we talk about emotion, first game of the season. You want to stay in the field. You want to end this game with 11 players on the field. So what does this look like in the second half? If you're Anthony Pulis and Blair Gavin, you're going to want more on the attacking phase of the game. Get in behind, stretch the opposition. Too many times the game was in front and making it very easy for each other to defend.
Well, the fans in attendance here tonight, glad they can be here with us, and we certainly hope you can be throughout the rest of the way. 45 minutes in the books, 45 more to come. Miami FC and FC Tulsa tied at 1-1.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
At the break right now, Florian Velo, his first goal of the season. Got the home team out in front. Miami FC and FC Tulsa tied at 1-1. We'll take a look around USL Championship on the other side.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
For over 75 years, we've witnessed moments that will last forever. Records and trophies, firsts and onlys, game-changing innovations. From the heroes we admire to the joy of watching them play. Our history defines us, inspires us, and pushes us into the future. Celebrating 75 years of changing the game. Puma, forever faster.
Get ready to wave the flags. Get ready to bang the drums. Get ready to light the smoke. Get ready to shine.
At the break right now, Miami FC, FC Tulsa. 1-1 is the score. Glad you can be here with us today on a Saturday night. Ricky Lopez-Espin, Lauren Markwith, and myself, David Gascon. Ricky, so much to talk about in a match like this, but also going to go around the U.S. of A., don't we?
And obviously we have the second game going on at the moment. Loudoun United 2-1 over Memphis 9-1 at halftime right now, but I'll talk about the coaching changes. One that I'm very interested in seeing. Ben Pierman going to Charleston. What does that look like? The players that they've brought in, and obviously USL Championship on ESPN. Miami FC going to Lou City. What is that going to look like? Obviously never fun, never easy going to Lynn Family Stadium there, and then we're back. If you're a player, a coach, a fan, a broadcaster, this is the day you've been waiting for. So excited to be back.
Oh, yeah. It is a great time to get involved. 11 matches today and tomorrow, but of course, what is on tap tonight, and then also looking at what's going on in the future as well. Birmingham Legion FC, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. There's a couple matches you want to circle. Certainly the one of them was San Antonio FC.
And San Antonio, obviously, the 2022 champions, Oakland Roots, going back where their season ended last time. But you look one over Tampa Bay Rowdies, a new look Tampa Bay Rowdies. And talk about new look, Indy 11. Mark Lowry bringing in a lot of pieces in. What does this look like? Never easy going to Al Lang. Monterey Bay, Hartford Athletic, Tav Ramos Arrow starts. What does this look like? El Paso Sac. Just so many games. And then you have Phoenix Rising. Juan Gary, what does that look like? A full season in charge going against Ben Pierman and the Charleston Battery.
So much to chew on in a long season. Low below, he got his opportunity, he made it count. Is there more in his back pocket? We'll find out. 45 minutes away.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
This match is presented by Wheels. Tata 2 and Baptist Health. Picture perfect day in Miami. Glad you can be here with us on a Saturday night with Ricky Lopez-Espin, Lauren Mark with them, David Gascon. The home opener for Miami FC, they got off to a good start, Ricky, and now it's about making some changes and getting a positive result.
I think it goes on to the attacking phase of the game. You need to get more involved into that final third. You're doing extremely well getting into that final third, but how clinical can you be once you're in there? Lacking that last bit of execution, quality, that final pass combination play. Defensively, you were good. Yes, but you need to have Below and Duwana a bit more closer to Chapman, Page, and Craig. Too many times you got spread apart, and DaCosta was causing all sorts of problems. On the other side, FC Tulsa, Blair Gavin, you have to be extremely happy with how this first half played out. Yes, you went down a goal, but your response was terrific. You're 1-1 on the road, especially in this league, David. It's extremely hard to pick up points, especially down in Miami. First game of the season. We need to get Marcus Epps involved a bit more. Him and Dyer, extremely quiet. They brought those two players in to make a difference, and what a chance this is in the second half for them. All
right, so you see that man right there, number 9, Kyle Murphy. How does Murphy get more touches and then, more importantly, more shots on target?
I don't think he needs to have a bit more touches. I think he needs to just stay high, occupy the center backs, and what he's going to do as a striker is going to open up space for players underneath him. That's when you have a Telfer, a Rivas, a Velo to come underneath, and then when you get into the box, make those runs. As a striker, you live and die by the service you get, so Kyle Murphy needs to have a bit more service going forward.
Here's Telfer outside. Telfer had provided some harassment on that back line of SC Tulsa in their first 45 minutes of play. And that actually just goes back to your point, too, Ricky. It's not about the volume of touches. It's about the quality of what you do with it. And for a guy like Murphy, he can make you pay on one shot.
And he's so clinical. Yes, he works his socks off, just moving left to right, open up players. But once he gets a clean look at goal, you talk to players and coaches in and around Miami FC, they say, look, he's clinical. You need him going, and what an opportunity it is for him to score in the opening game of the season. We know his track record, 20 goals at Tulsa 2 years ago, 10 goals last year. So look for him to just up that one more and get in and around that 20-goal range once again for Miami FC.
Let's see if he can accomplish the feat. Teams flip-flop sides, and temperatures have winded down just a little bit, about 74 degrees on the pitch. So a bit cooler, but it's been comfortable. Be fascinating to see who leads the charge offensively this year in USL Championship. Milanowski lit the world on fire last year for Orange County, but that was last year. Couple bookings on both sides. Below has one of them. This corner kick can be brought to you by Baptist Health from Miami FC.
Corner kick.
See Chapman, Page, and Paco Craig moving up for good reason too. Chapman Page is 6'1", Craig at 6'2", so any kind of service that's elevated, that one certainly was not the case, but that could provide some kind of potential threat. And on that note, Chapman Page, the guilty party.
Yeah, you need a bit of a better service there from below. Just to put it up and tell your big men just to go out and get it. Chapman Page and Craig, like you mentioned, David, big in size, big in stature, but very good in the air.
Nelson tonight for FC Tulsa. Victimizing the first shot that he saw on target. It's a 20th overall pick from Houston Dynamo back in 2018. And since then, he's been all around the map. Below, good touch to keep that in. Telfer, and on the attack, Rivas. Below, sweet movement there, Telfer. The cross, gingerly played in, and Nelson was there to gobble it up. Murphy, though, lurking a bit, and that's exactly what you want to see for Miami FC.
And it's just textbook pattern play. As this ball comes out to below, that shifts out wide. Telfer's the one who stretches that back line. As he cuts this one back, it's very difficult for Murphy to get his hips around it. It's asking a lot, but if he just lays that off to Rivas, it's a layup there for number 11 in blue. But if you're Anthony Pulis, the passage of play was spot on, something you want to see in that final third.
And if you're Rucci right there, you could not be as aggressive as you'd like to be just because you're inside the box against a guy like Murphy, but nevertheless, he kept his cool.
It's so important for a striker to make that near post run because, one, what it does, it just pulls out another player. That's when you need that secondary run. In this case, it was Rivas. But Rucci does extremely well to stay like for like and just make his life extremely difficult.
Joseph got the equalizer in the 28th minute. Back inside the 18. Fans wanted a call, did not get it. Telfer with a quick touch to Murphy. Murphy could not control it. Pace of play for the first 6 to 8 minutes was in favor of Miami FC. Then the pendulum swung the other way for FC Tulsa. And then it was pretty much a 50-50 affair. And if you were not with us for the entire first half, that's exactly how it ended in the possession game, 50-50. So shots, goals, possession, nearly all identical. See what we have materializing here. Telfer was backtracking a little bit on that tail end. Velo, Rivas, nice spin move. Rivas turned in fire. That was cut off, though.
One thing you see from Miami FC is just committing a lot more numbers forward into that final third. When they turn the ball over, they try to win it back in the first 3 seconds, trying to swarm and create confusion between this FC Tulsa side. If you're Anthony Pulis, you have to be extremely pleased the last 5 minutes coming out of the break. But yes, again, Dave, you can do extremely good getting into the final third, but how clinical can you be? Murphy needs to get more on the end of things. Rivas, once again, has come alive in the second half, so keep him on the ball, keep him confident, and let him do his magic in that final third.
It is, to your point, it looks like a completely different beginning in the second half for Miami FC than the opening onset. That's not to say that they came out flat, but just a different type of intensity here in the second half.
And it's just about winning those second balls. As this ball comes into Murphy, what does the secondary movement look like? The players underneath him. Salazar is getting involved a bit more. Rivas as well, something that I was asking for at halftime. So far, so good for Anthony Pulis.
Salazar got taken down. Well, not happy with that. Wasn't alarmingly physical in the opening half. Just enough to whet one's appetite. But J.C. Griggs, the lead official today, got himself involved a few times. DeCosta on the offensive end, trying to press the attack. That'll result in a corner kick for FC Tulsa.
But once again, it's that ball that's straight down the middle channel, breaking lines. It's Blaine Ferrier that pops off the back line. DeCosta runs off of him. If you're Chapman Page and Paco Craig, you need to have a bit more communication to pull Duona or Velo back to clog that middle space.
Now, one thing with FC Tulsa in the first 45 minutes, they didn't look oppressive on their set pieces. Nothing crafty of the nature. We'll see if Blaine Gavin can inspire them to do something different. DeCosta on the approach. Tell you what, Zendejas didn't feel like he had a lot of real estate. Did not, in fact. He ended up in the twine. Zendejas, I'll tell you what, that was a awfully peculiar spot that he was in with that approach from DeCosta.
You never want to take chances as a goalkeeper. So much traffic in and around you. Very difficult to catch it. To just punch it over the bar, reset.
The one element that he's probably fortunate about now is the fact that there's no sun in his eyes. If there is any kind of glare with that kind of trajectory from DeCosta, that could be rather worrisome. Line drive here. That one from well outside. Watching the way through and broke it up nicely by Stanley. Telfer couldn't get to it. So one thing, if anything, at least from the attacking third of Miami FC, their marquee players appear to be in a great flow. They've had plenty of touches and opportunities. Now it's about being more creative.
They're having more quality as well, just getting themselves into pockets just like this. It's a perfect example. As Rivas comes across, Kyle Murphy needs to stay a bit more connected to him to play off of each other. And so interesting, talking to Anthony Pulis earlier this week, saying, look, we defend one way, we attack a different way. They defend in a 4-4-2, but attacking-wise, you see Rivas come underneath Murphy, play as a true number 10. That connection needs to be a bit more tighter. Pull players out of position, have that combination play to play 1-2s around the corner. That's something that's been lacking for Miami FC so far in this opening match.
Now, is that incumbent upon the technical staff or the players themselves to get that right?
I think it's the players. I think you have the talent, the players know it, just implementing it on game day. Obviously, first game of the season, there's going to be a bit difficult getting into rhythm, that confidence, that conclusion. It's not probably right at 100% at the moment, but as the season goes on, you get more comfortable playing against opposition. You understand how your teammates like the ball, their tendencies, so you're going to just see it get better for Miami FC going forward.
Rivas to Telfer out wide. Double team was coming a little late. Stanley. Telfer with a nice move. Telfer got around Brewer, the cross, and I'll tell you what, Miami FC had not one but two cracks at it, both of them snake eyes.
And going into this season, one person that I talked to Anthony Pulis that he's going to surprise a lot of people is this man right here, Ryan Telfer. How powerful, how explosive, how much quality he has in that final third, and what a dicing ball in that is. And if you're Kyle Murphy, you need to get on your bike and get on the end of that.
More on all this second half action. Lauren Markwith. Lauren, what do you got? Apologize for the technical difficulties. We're in the 56th minute. Match number one. It's for all of us, too. But glad you can be here with us on a Saturday night. Miami FC in their home opener. They get two matches at home before they head on the road against Pittsburgh. And then they'll return. So it's a busy start to the month of March. Velo. Stanley. There's Rivas. Rivas just completely missed on that one. Got a little too much sauce on it, ran up on him.
You start to see the relationship on both sides of the ball. On the right side, on the left side, on this side it's Aiden Stanley and Ryan Telfer. Just getting a bit better as Stanley stays inside, Telfer pushes out and provides the width going forward and vice versa. It's something that's a nightmare to defend.
Stanley again on this approach towards...
Hi guys, technical difficulties, sorry about that.
It's all good. Lauren, you
Let's
got more on this
talk about the
second
atmosphere
half.
down here, guys. Can you hear the drums in the background?
Telfer. Stanley. Stanley looking for the cross. Salazar had a beat on it, but he was cut off at the last second. You see him wearing that smile. He was awfully close to getting the go-ahead goal.
And once again, we have Stanley coming into that final third a bit more in the second half. It's a brilliant ball to that back post. But as Salazar comes up and over, Rushi just gets all of the player, none of the ball. It is a foul. Very dangerous play there from Salazar. But once again, we see the flow of Miami FC getting better in the second half. The idea is starting to come to fruition.
Telfer had a near intercept there. Of course, the common theme for Salazar is you don't feel like it's a foul. It's a 50-50 ball. Just didn't go in your favor, nevertheless, but that's great effort.
And it's terrific positioning there from Rushi as the left back. Getting in between the player and the ball and just heads it away and takes the contact to come with it. I think he's had a very strong game. That left back for FC Tulsa really shutting down Salazar and Segbers, getting into the attacking phase of the game.
It's almost like the players on the pitch heard you from up top, because they've kind of followed your recipe to execute in the second half, more creative and creating some chances offensively. And prior to that, into the attacking third, they've really worked themselves up the middle of the pitch and then to the outside.
Once again, you just see how tight it is for Miami FC in terms of lines. Not really a lot of space, and then you force a silly turnover like that. And you have to try to play in behind. Kyle Murphy pulls off. Rivas as well. It's so important. When you try to frustrate a team, you like to keep things very tight and compact, and once you win it, expansive, and that's when the team is the most vulnerable. Just look for those players like Kyle Murphy to run in behind and just dump that ball into real estate.
Well, Salazar had a great opportunity moments ago, and Telfer nearly lined him up along with Kyle Murphy on a previous on-man rush. Stanley. Rivas was forced to retreat a little bit. Craig. And now Miami FC just trying to settle things down and get FC Tulsa out there, collect it back. One poor turnover results in another one, and then another one. All the action in the first half, a couple goals there. USF got the equalizer after Velo scored in the 26th minute. Intercepted. JC Griggs, unlike the first half, blowing that play down. Here's Telfer. Looked like that one walked up on Epps. Stanley, quick touch. I'll tell you what, the intensity's been there, especially in the second half for Miami FC. Rivas goes down, but he forced that foul against Eric Bird. And now we'll see a set piece here, a rare one at least, in the attacking third for Miami FC.
And it's really clever play here from Rivas. Puts his body between him and the ball of Eric Bird. Feels any sort of contact is going to go down. Now it's a very dangerous set piece here for Miami FC. Don't be surprised if you see Florian Velo take a run down this left channel. Rivas served this ball in once again, aiming for between that penalty mark and that 6-yard box, trying to catch Michael Nelson. Sort of confusion, no man's land.
Yeah, a lot of danger there. Murphy around, Craig there, Telfer. All of them over 6 feet tall. Let's see who takes this. Won't be Velo, it'll be Rivas on the approach. Long way. Craig, good job for keeping it in. That one chipped into the box, volleyed around, contact. Stanley teed up. That one blocked on the way through. Murphy could not get a good handle on it, and he'll wear a sign of frustration with his arms up. It's been a good start to the second half, and more on that. Lauren, what do you got for us?
A great start to the second half for Miami FC. I feel like they're finally developing some rhythm. They're passing the ball around, moving the ball great, which Poulos is telling his team, move it from left to right, use the width, take people on, drive down the flanks, and cross that in. Just need to find more people to get into the box, like we said. Focus on getting more people into the final third. And right now, Tulsa look like they're making some subs, so get ready for some more action in the second half.
Yeah, fresh legs indeed. Thank you very much, Lauren. And yeah, we were kind of curious about all that as a group. Who would be coming in, who would be coming out, and then the activity of the bench. Anthony Pulis felt like he had a deep squad. Let's see if that's the case for FC Tulsa. As you see Christopher Pearson get himself warmed up. Dario Suarez gonna make his season debut. Dyer's going to depart. And Suarez, a pretty frequent guy to this area. You look at what's coming on here. These substitutions brought to you by Lexus. First substitutions of the night. Suarez previously with Miami FC on his 3rd season with FC Tulsa. Was active last year, had 9 goals and 5 helpers for FC Tulsa. Christopher Pearson into the fray.
Mario Suarez in for Moses Dyer.
Back the other way.
Number 88, Christopher Pearson. In for Elaine Perry.
Approach here for Miami FC. And that attempt for Miami FC came out rather flat. But still, the creativity is there, and there's players moving without the ball.
It's what you want from Mark Segberst, taking players on, the explosiveness that he has, but just lacking once again that final ball, head down, head over the ball to whip it a ball around that 6-yard box. Once again, if you're Anthony Pulis, you want your outside backs. That's why you go and get Mark Segberst. You bring in an Aiden Stanley that had the quality to play both sides of the ball, attacking-wise and defensive-wise. Just need to have a bit more quality once again.
This Lexus substitution, Curtis Thorne now in for Chapman Page. So 23 in, 5 out.
A substitution for your
Shuffling of the deck for both squads. 66th minute.
Curtis Thorne. Replacing number 5, Nicolum Chapman Page in the 65th minute.
So a couple substitutions for FC Tulsa, one for Miami FC. Telford there would love to have that one back. Velo would have been off to the races. Just a brief miss hit. Stanley jumping up into the play. An inspiring play and a turnover. Epps trying to capitalize on it. Good recovery, and I'll tell you what, Suarez there on the foul, but nearly a complete gap from Miami FC.
Which is a heavy touch there from Paco Craig. If you're Suarez, you expect better from yourself. As he puts a bit too much weight on this ball from Marcus Epps, puts him towards the corner flag, but you have to give credit to the response from Miami FC to put players back in the defensive side of the ball. Florian Velo draws a foul. But now you're going to start to see FC Tulsa, especially the Costa Suarez players that understand how to play with each other. Both had 9 goals on the trot last year. So that connection is going to be massive going forward in the rest of this game for Blair Gavin's boys.
Sounds interesting to say, but Miami FC looks rather quick here in the second half compared to the first. That might be more of a tactical approach, feeling people out, like you mentioned, at halftime, but here in the second, they have a different plan, it looks like, and they've done everything except for execute the final result, which is another goal.
And once again, just like Lauren said, and Anthony Coach Pulis told his boys, look, we need to turn up the intensity. There's too many times it was too lackadaisical, too many players taking too many touches. The ball wasn't moving quick enough. Now you just see him playing at a different tempo. But yes, you can play at a different tempo. You need to be clinical. Goals are going to win you games. You need points to climb up the table. And Anthony Pulis, he wants to get into the playoffs once again. He wants to be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. And you look down the roster, they have the talent to do that. But the only way that they're going to do that is to score goals and keep the ball out of the back of their net. So you need to get Kyle Murphy a bit more service once again.
Fans here, Ricardo Silva Stadium, trying to provide some encouragement. They've been vocal throughout this match. Pre-game into the good night. Of course, it always helps when spring break is here too, Ricky. I tend to forget that at times, and all of a sudden, fans coming up and down the interstate. flags and umbrellas and beach towels and the whole smash. But a great time of the year. Fellas will play on. Telfer trying to avoid one tackle, and he can't, but that'll result in an immediate booking there. Tell you what, J.C. Griggs was prompt on that. Colin Fernandez, the guilty recipient. He's got the yellow card here in the 69th minute.
But this results in terms of just movement and playing off of each other. As Murphy pulls the defender away, Rivas is the one who provides the width, and that opens up a massive gap for Ryan Telfer and how explosive he is. I keep talking about it in the second half. The first 2 steps of him are so explosive. He gets away from Colin Fernandez, forces his hand, and now the center midfielder for FC Tulsa is on a yellow card, and once again, a brilliant set-piece opportunity for the home side.
Just kind of echoing what you mentioned earlier, Telfer just looks the part and he plays the part. 6 foot tall and about 170 pounds. Runs like the wind though. Below. Looking for Craig, but not enough elevation on that service. Nevertheless, it'll be Miami FC with possession here. Segbers, ripe old age of 26 from St. Louis, Missouri. Played his ball in Big Ten country in college at Wisconsin with the Badgers. Second season with Miami FC. Murphy. Segbers. He had Salazar for a minute. Goes the other way. Somehow finds Salazar with the strike, and a good stop by Nelson.
And this is what you want from your attacking unit. Segbers comes underneath, Salazar stays wide, and as he gets a second bite of the apple, Salazar just elects to go for power, try to sneak this ball into the near post of Michael Nelson, but give credit to the keeper from FC Tulsa, stands big and doesn't let that near post go in.
Baptist Health corner kick for Miami FC. On service here. Decent scramble in front, and this results in another corner kick, and I said Baptist Health, we'll get more of it. Baptist Health corner kick on the opposite side, it looked like, and now J.C. Griggs a little confused, and now he says no, it'll be FC Tulsa with possession. Got a member down for FC Tulsa. Might be Yosef who's down. So I guess officially that's our first cramp of the year, Ricky. It's 72 minutes into the match. That's not bad.
Make your next event unforgettable and book the one and only Golazo. South Florida's favorite Kingfisher is available for birthdays, festivals, schools, assemblies, youth sports functions.
Got some substitutions for FC Tulsa.
Call 844-MIAMI-FC or email info@miamifc.com.
Siad Haji will come in for the first time tonight. He makes his appearance off the bench. Chase Bromstead as well. Looks at substitutions. Get a good look at Colin Fernandez. Fernandez with a booking tonight. So Haji in, Epps out. And for as even and balanced as the first half was for both clubs, things have tilted in the positive column for Miami FC. And if you're looking on from an FC Tulsa perspective, you just want to make sure that you're not taking on any more water.
Replace number 20, Milo Yosef. Also in the game, number 19,
could read a little bit into the analytics and numbers. Goal expectancy for Miami FC is at nearly 1.5, and for FC Tulsa, just 0.3. Shots right now 12-6 in favor of Miami FC. Shots on target 3-2 for the home squad. Here's Salazar. Segbers gave him the opportunity, but Salazar could not maintain possession of it. As soon as I say that, a turnover, a giveaway, and then mischief near midfield. Stanley. Paco Craig. Paco Gigi Craig. Been named to the first team All USL Championship League once. Spent 3 seasons with Louisville City FC. Played 85 matches with them. Zayden Dejas trying to settle things down. He sensed that miscommunication, trying to get things reset.
You start to see FC Tulsa set up a bit differently in terms of their press. You see, as Miami FC likes to build that with 3 in the back, Blair Gavin said, okay, we'll match it and go 3 up top as well. That's why you start to see the frustration, the lack of ideas, try to break through lines for Miami FC at the moment. And the way you're going to break that press is just in terms of movement. Players picking up spaces between lines off the shoulder of opposition, getting the ball with the right body position on the half turn to face forward, to go out the other way, change your point of attack. You're approaching the last 15 minutes, so now, yes, there's going to be tired legs. The first thing that's going to go is the mental side of the game. Recovery runs are going to start lacking. First pass needs to go forward when a turnover is forced, and open up those gaps and be very direct and vertical in terms of your movement.
They're certainly trying to execute now in that kind of mind frame. And there have been some direct and casual adjustments been made throughout this match, as we're in the 76th minute. Something brewing here for FC Tulsa. Have not had a lot in this second half to write home about, but nevertheless, still 1-1. Pearson. Back the other way, here comes Telfer with a full head of steam. Nearly had numbers. Telfer trying to make a move, he gets dropped. And Fernandez got away with one there. Stanley again looking for Telfer, just way out in front of him, not on the same page. Well, we got a moment. Select the official match ball supplier, the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.selectsportamerica.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Another substitution moments away. A brief tease on that, but we'll come at the next stoppage. And the action is tempered down a little bit. Possession in favor of Miami FC, but there have been a few lapses. Wuna. Salazar jostling for position and possession, could not get it, but it was put back in his wallet. He's going to be okay as Corrales took him down. Another substitution. Lexus sub brings us in Claudio Repetto for the first time this season. So Repetto will come in. Michael Salazar will depart. Salazar was strong.
Very busy in between lines. It's just always a nightmare to play against as he wins this last free kick here. Now you're going to bring in Claudio Repetto, who's an out-and-out target number 9. So now you have Murphy, who likes to run in behind. Repetto will come to feet, so that's going to give in a lot of real estate for players in and around them to play around.
No connection there for Repetto. Yeah, when you talk about a player of his caliber being that true 9 that Repetto is, do you feel like that area of focus is now changing in the game?
I think it just depends on the coach. You look at a coach like Anthony Pulis, he likes to play in transition. He likes to get in behind. So maybe it suits a bit more Kyle Murphy, but there's 12 minutes left in this game. Yes, there's heavy legs. Repetto gives you that target, that focal point to play off of. And then you have the combination of both. It's a nightmare to defend. You don't know which defender's going to step, the movement of Kyle Murphy, the stagnant of Repetto, how strong he is. So now if you're number 10, a player underneath them,
Suarez trying to create something here.
A player underneath him, you're going to have a lot of success to have maybe a wall pass, then to put it in behind and let Murphy go in between. It's a big ask for Anthony Pulis to get so many talented players on the field. But it's a problem if you're a coach that you want to have right at that.
This luxury. So, and I guess to your point, if that is a challenge for the team manager, what makes you put someone at the 9 and not?
The whole slew of things. I mean, you look how they're training, how they're doing, your opposition. Who's in form, who's confident at the moment, obviously health, who has more minutes under their legs. It's over the season. You want to have that flexibility, that fluidity to play different sorts of ways. And if you're, I talked with Anthony Pulis earlier this week, we did, and he was like, look, I want to be a team that has a true identity, but can also change and adapt to different situations. And so you bring in a Claudio Repetto 12 minutes into this game. That's just a testament to that.
Trying to be the chameleon over the course of a long season. And that goes back to his point about having good character guys, because you feel like that dangerous word, ego, might come into play if you do move a couple pieces across the board.
Exactly.
81st minute. This one's sky high as Zendejas is coming off his back line for a moment. Repetto, Velo, some tic-tac-toe passing back to Claudio. Claudio with some fresh legs just entered the match with the move, trying to create. Nelson got both paws on it for the denial.
And as a substitute, you want to make your impact felt. Terrific individual play here from Claudio Repetto. He uses the run of Ryan Telfer to pull out Eric Bird, and he understands if I fake outside and go in, I'm going to have a pocket of space. As a striker, you don't need a second invitation, but good save from Michael Nelson once again.
Baptist Health corner kick was awfully short. And Stanley couldn't get anything towards the 6.
A yellow card was issued by the referee to Miami FC's number 2, Mark Segberg.
Mark Segberg was issued a yellow card. Some rather colorful language was provided J.C. Griggs. No hot microphone on the deck to hear that, but nevertheless, he's in the book. Here's Murphy with an open track. Murphy, Rivas, both there. Repetto near the 6. It'll be a throw-in for Miami FC. Kyle's put in a solid game tonight. A couple of chances, one in the first half, another one in the second. Telfer looking for some real estate just outside the box. Touch passing. That cross never found a lane. Segberg just picked up that yellow card. At least forces a corner kick. This corner brought to you by Baptist Health. Below. Opposite way, the header. Nelson got a foot on it. Paco Craig with some pretty good steam on that header. Just missed, making Miami FC up by a goal at 2-1. So Nelson's been the busier of the two keepers here tonight. Ricky, it almost feels like the inevitable goal is coming from Miami FC.
They're knocking at the doorstep at the moment, but once again, what a fantastic save this is from Michael Nelson. Paco Craig, we talked about how good and how deadly he is in the air, winning his individual battles and duels. Does everything right, heads it down, heads it back to where it came across. Michael Nelson, once again, is the man of the match for FC Tulsa at the moment.
Stanley. Below, watch out here. Below goes down. No call, wow. A little bit of retribution right there, I'd imagine. Tell you what, a valid argument can be made for Miami FC as Below went down, not under his own accord. Another substitution brought to you by Lexus. Justin Malou will depart.
A substitution for FC Tulsa.
TT comes in.
In the game now is number 12.
You know, in a spot like this, Ricky, are you more inclined for FC Tulsa to not attack and just play for a point?
So if you know anything about Blair Gavin, he says, I want to be an attack-minded coach. I want to catch teams in transition, turn our defense into offense. And you have to think the players that they brought on, Haji, very talented, Suarez, Acosta, Bromstead, as Pearson, players that can turn this game in. So look for them to try to catch this Miami FC side on the counter. So it's a big emphasis and a big ask now in terms of that back line between Curtis Dorn and Paco Craig to have a lot of communication, especially when you're on the ball. Like I mentioned earlier in the game, when you're on the ball, you want to be expansive. You want to open up and make the field as big as it is. But if you have a sloppy turnover, that leaves you extremely vulnerable. And that's on the hands of the center backs to get your lines tight, especially when you have a sloppy turnover.
Looked like a 50-50 ball there, but Repetto lowering his shoulder. And because of that, possession's going to go back to FC Tulsa. Miami FC back on the pitch next week at home against New Mexico United. First touch at 7 p.m. Eastern. And they go on the road on Friday night, in fact, against Pittsburgh Riverhounds before they return home with Memphis 501 FC. So 3 of the first 4 matches to open up the campaign are at home. Points at a premium, and here's Suarez on the giveaway. Dead giveaway over on the right-hand side, but no numbers. It's good transition defense. Suarez with the move, some space, broken up at the last second. That's fine play defensively for Miami FC, and Curtis Thorne able to get the left leg out.
And once again, it's Paco Craig that gets caught in possession. Caught between two minds. Does he take players on? Does he play it back? And once again, Curtis Thorne does extremely well not to leave his feet, and when he does at the right moment.
Repetto. Good for Segbers. Repetto with the chip. Telfer trying to come back to it, but doesn't need to. Stanley had it for a moment.
I think he's been extremely active since coming on, Claudio Repetto. Just gives you a different look, a different dynamic. Very comfortable on the ball, very good at linking up, bringing players in for his size. There's a reason why Ndipoulos goes out and brings them in just to help this attacking unit that he has.
Telfer. 3 in the box for Miami FC. Stanley after Velo and back to him.
If you're FC Tulsa, you're okay with this. Everything is in front of you. There's no one in testing and running in behind. And that's when you see the confusion. One player stepping, one player dropping, trying to catch players offside. But so far, everything's been in front, so it's been very easy in terms of defending, positioning, and shape for FC Tulsa so far.
Closing moments of this match. See what kind of stoppage time we'll be receiving. Segbers, line drive, looking for Murphy. That thing is launched up into the air. 90th minute. And our indications, 4 minutes of stoppage time. Shots right now 14-7 in favor of Miami FC. 5 of them on target to just 2 for FC Tulsa. They've outshot FC Tulsa in the second half as Miami FC 8-2. They have been the more aggressor. They have been creative, but is there a payoff? Below. Trying to spin that thing back in. Segbers. Here's Telfer with the strike that was deflected on the way through. Golden opportunity for Nelson. Fortunate enough that was broken up before it got to him.
Just has a really good feel of this game. As this ball shifts out to the right-hand side, Telfer comes in centrally. Good first touch out of his feet, but give credit to Bromstead. Comes off his line extremely quick, gets in front of that ball. They've been beaten once from distance by Velo. Not going to happen again.
That was a sharp recovery from Bromstead, as you mentioned. The ability just to get his leg up in time. Saving a potential game-winning goal. So afforded 4 minutes of stoppage time. Similar to the first half, we got contact there. And Suarez not happy with that, but a quick restart. It wasn't like Paco Craig was diving at that point in the match. No get me up right now from FC Tulsa. It seems like they're perfectly content playing to a 1-1 draw. See Blair Gavin on the bottom of the screen talking to the officials. Telfer, fortunate for that bounce to stay in. He was looking for a couple different players there, and Repetto was one of them. Murphy the other.
It's a Miami
That's going to be a Baptist Health corner kick. Could be the last one of the match. Thorne, Craig, Telfer, Repetto, and Murphy all inside the 18. Below. Stanley's attempt. They'll be around, wearing the same kit. Below goes down. That strike, Nelson denied it with both hands. It was right on goal, though. And now watch out here. Could have numbers in a 2-on-1. It's exactly the case, but a quick breakup for at least the brief moment. That shot, Zendejas punched it out the last second. Just some tired legs as Haji with the bid. And Zendejas just settling things down. His chances have been far and few, but the counter was rather fast for FC Tulsa.
And I do think it's very good refereeing at this point in time. Yes, it's a foul as Haji comes in, undercuts Florian below, but that results in a Rivas opportunity. Good save from Michael Nelson. And on the other end of the field, I think Haji just makes a wrong decision. It's a 1v1. Elects to go by himself. He just slots the ball across. I think it's Acosta Suarez. On the other end, it's a 1v1 between them and Zendejas. Little things like that make a huge difference in terms of when you're looking at the table, as we see it once again here. Haji 1v1. He understands it's him. Segburst, as he just puts his ball across, elects time for Curtis Thorne. Stanley, Paco Craig to get back into the fold of things and make life extremely difficult. Strong hand from Zendejas, but if you're Blair Gavin, it's an opportunity to steal 3 points.
Anthony Pulis just awarded a yellow card. Not a bad time to get your first yellow card of the season. And if you're Pulis, you got a valid argument. There's a couple different plays that happen just outside the 18.
I think that ball falls off to anyone else besides Joaquin Rivas. It's a foul call, but as Joaquin is 1v1 in and around that 18-yard box, I think you have to let that ball play.
Did not work in favor for Miami FC as Telfer guilty of the foul. J.C. Griggs ready to blow the whistle, and he does just that. And so the opening match looked promising for Miami FC. FC Tulsa was able to counter moments.
FC, you have to be extremely frustrated with the result. Extremely good defensively, but getting into that final third, he had a lot of success. The only thing that was lacking was that little bit of quality, that final touch, that execution. And if you're Anthony Pulis, something that you have to go back to the training ground to work with. And if you're Blair Gavin, you go on the road, first game of the season, hot environment, very talented Miami FC side. You have to be extremely pleased in your defensive efforts when the attacking phase really not threatening Miami FC too much.
So I got to ask you then, who will be our Tata 2 man of the match for Miami FC?
I think it has to be that man right there. Was at the thick of everything going forward for Miami FC. The ability to get the ball in the half turn, play between lines, dish the ball out at the right time, but also, as we saw, has in his locker, to find that finishing touch. The goal that he had, I think, will be up for goal of the season, even though it's match day 1. Head down, laces through the ball. There's nothing a keeper in, not only in this league, but leagues around the world is stopping that ball. And that's why he is your well-deserved man of the match.
Well, so he scores his first goal of the season, the 26th minute, gave Miami FC an early 1-0 advantage. Unfortunate for him, that goal would not hold up. The equalizer coming just a couple moments after that. Nevertheless, match ends in a positive run for Miami FC. FC Tulsa, they play to a 1-1 draw.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho, Sweetwater, Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas,
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American dream.
I am the future.
I am
FCFC.
Closing up shop here at Ricardo Silva Stadium. Miami FC, FC Tulsa played to a 1-1 draw with Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm David Gascon, and Ricky, I'm the man of the match right there. And I tell you what, full highlights in this affair. We had a few of them.
And it was always going to be who's going to strike first, who's going to have the most confidence to have that finishing touch. And he's the man of the match for a reason. Florian Below just picks this ball up, probably about 20, 25 yards outside this 18-yard box. No one steps. And there's a reason someone needs to step. He just rockets this ball into that top corner. Michael Nelson, courtesy dive. Sorry you can't do anything about it, but what was the reaction going to be like for the visitors as Colin Fernandez just picks his head up and just hits this ball as it bounces off the deck? It's really awkward for Zendejas. You see what he's trying to do, but he needs to do it a bit more wider. That gives Josef the opportunity to get there before Stanley, and then it's a very clinical finish, to be fair. Just passes it into that far post, and then it was just always back and forth. There's no really clear-cut opportunity. No one was very threatening in that first half. This ball comes over Kyle Murphy's shoulder. It's a very difficult task. The angle's not the best. There's traffic, and it's just so hard as he hits it off the post. But it was always going to be who was going to come out in the second half. What was Anthony Pulis going to say? What was Blair Gavin going to say to his boys? And to be fair, Miami FC got their message and ran with it. The attacking phase of the game just went up a different level, got numbers in and around that 18-yard box. We see Salazar getting involved, but Michael Nelson once again was answering every single question asked of him. Claudio Repetto uses the run from Brian Telford away, and as a striker, I thought he was very good coming in off the bench. It's very difficult. Once again, Michael Nelson there to save the day for FC Tulsa. And this is, what else can you ask? Paco Craig does everything right. Heads it down, heads it with power. Michael Nelson stays his ground, kick save massive. And there's an opportunity for FC Tulsa to steal all 3 points. Was not threatening at all in the second half. But if you're Haji, you need to play this ball across. You have Suarez or DaCosta alone in that 18-yard box. As you cut across, it gives opportunity for Miami FC players to clog the top of the 18-yard box, and it's straight at Zendejas, and that's how we end the game 1-1.
Well, it was not the kind of result that Miami FC wanted, but nevertheless, they'll take 1 point. You see the shot, 16-8. In the second half, they simply outclassed FC Tulsa. They had 6 shots on target to just the 1 for FC Tulsa, but the end result, you see the possession, and there's a lot of positives from this for Anthony Pulis and company, but nevertheless, the first match in the books, it ends in a 1-1 draw. Next broadcast, next game for Miami FC is next week, the 18th. So for Ricky Lopez-Espin and Lauren Markwith, I'm David Gascon. Hope you enjoyed this one on a Saturday night. We'll catch you again in a week from now for match number 2 with Miami FC squaring off against New Mexico United. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.